Hey guys, how are we doing? Back in another video from Annie News. We're doing the Fate Grand Order videos. Doing Merlin next. But we've got another cut content video for Tower of God. I love Tower of God. I absolutely love it. I love the cut content for episode 1. Let's see what they cut from episode 2.
Unlike episode 1, episode 2 of Tower of God barely skipped out on anything.
Oh, cool.
The only things that were cut were some of the finer details and information on most of the side characters.
Interesting.
So, just as we did last week, let's continue our Tower of God cut content series and take a look at what exactly we missed out on. Episode 2, 3 out of 400, covering chapter 6 to chapter 11.
Oh, this is the
The episode begins with a short
they're all
flashback,
killing each other.
but there was more to it than Bomb simply learning the meaning of the word conflict. It was more a means to showcase why exactly Rachel is so important to him. We learn that everything that constitutes who Bomb is derives from what Rachel taught him.
Oh.
From the words he heard, to the writing he read, and even down to the emotions he was able to experience, they all came from her. That's why Bomb feels that every single one of his words and actions should be dedicated to her.
Right.
Rachel was much more than just someone Bam was fond of. Fond is even kind of an understatement.
Isn't she like
you could
everything?
say what Bam was feeling was something more similar to devotion.
Mm.
Back to the second floor, Bam had just encountered Khun. You see, before Rak had showed up to challenge the Black March, Khun first stopped Bam from attacking the passive giant that he was focusing on.
Yes.
The fact that Bam was
I
even
like
pointing
that.
his
It's like,
sword towards it was quite intriguing to Khun. This is because creatures from that tribe could be found almost anywhere in the tower. And it was a well-known fact that they were very mild-mannered.
Yeah, they don't
rarely
attack, so it's
ever
like,
showed
ooh, thank you for
any
that.
type of hostility. This was the first indication to Khun that Bam was different. If he was from the tower, then he should have known what that being standing next to him was.
Right. Okay,
So
I like that
this
detail.
led Khun to ask Bam where he came from. It was a tough question because Bam couldn't quite tell the truth since he remembered that irregulars were normally feared by others. He had no idea how Khun would react if he found out he was one of them. But that didn't mean Bam had to lie either. Instead, he just didn't answer the question.
Just didn't tell him.
It was a response that appealed more to
Cool.
Khun since he knew that Bam could have just as easily lied. It displayed that he was a truthful person. The second indication of Bam's irregularity came when Rak challenged him. As Khun was about to leave, it wasn't the Black March that triggered his curiosity. It was the fact that someone as weak as Bam was deemed a worthy opponent to someone as strong as Rak.
Oh, right,
It
okay.
just didn't make any sense. Only after they escaped from Rak did Khun realize that Bam was carrying the Black March.
Oh, wow,
And
okay,
that
that
was
is
the final
different.
indication that Bam was special.
Because he
It
sees the
became
Black
clear
March and
that
he's like,
Bam was
wait a
someone
minute.
Khun needed to keep close. So
Huh.
he decided right there that he would climb the tower with him. Now, this kind of sentiment took Bam by surprise, though. It was rather odd for someone he just met to be so willing to help. I mean, he was just so weak, so it didn't really make any
That's a
sense
slight
to him.
difference, isn't it? I like that.
Even
That's
after
cool.
insisting that he was
The
no
fact that
good,
Rak was
Khun
wanting to
simply
fight him
responded
was
by
like,
saying
wait a
that
minute.
it'd be fun to hang out together. Which also didn't make much sense either, considering how quiet Bam was. I'm sure that could have been part of Khun's reasoning, but really it was mostly because of the significance of having the Black March. Even Rak had a vague comprehension of the significance of this weapon, but he too couldn't fully understand what it truly meant. Only Khun seemed to realize the full extent of the situation Bam found himself in. Anyway, as the first test ended, the second immediately began. And
Yeah,
this
it's
one
like
was
team to 3.
arguably more difficult than the last.
Go.
If you think about it, the short time limit they gave to find a team of 3 meant that you'd have to team up with the people
Closest to you, yep, makes
And
sense.
The people closest to you were more than likely the ones that you were just fighting. So you basically had to turn your enemies into allies. But as we saw,
It's a clever test.
Rak didn't really care what the test
Nah,
was.
I
He just
love Rak,
wanted to
he's
fight
so
some
cool.
strong opponents. So when Khun saw that Rak wasn't going to listen, the only plausible strategy was to capture him.
Yep.
That way, when
Brilliant.
the test ended, both himself and Bam could meet the conditions and pass. The thing
I'm
is,
so glad Rak's a main
was
character.
A lot more volatile.
I thought he was going to be a
And there was
throwaway
at least
character.
30 seconds left before the test was going to end. So Khun had to not only dodge Rak's attacks while closing the gap,
Oh.
but he also had to protect Bam too.
Oh,
What the
damn.
anime didn't show was that Rak's spear was actually about to hit Bam. Bam hadn't even realized the plan that Khun came up with yet. He was literally standing still when Rak
Whoa.
threw the spear at him. The only reason it missed is because Khun was able to deflect it at the last
Whoa,
second.
why'd they cut that?
Otherwise, Bam's journey would have ended right there. So, with the 3 of them now a team, they were taken to the next test point of Evan Kell's mothership.
Right.
It's here that we get a small bit of dialogue from some of the other teams. First was Shibisu, Hats, and Anna.
Shibisu, man,
Unlike
I feel
in the
so
anime,
sorry for him.
Shibisu wasn't really trying to go about himself. It was more like he was just trying to make casual conversation. But Hats found Shibisu to be annoying, and Anak just thought he was useless.
Yeah, they're just like, God, why even
wanting
here?
to be seen as weak, he decides to tell them about his deadly martial arts skills, a secret form of combat that was passed down from the tower. Of course, the other two just thought that he was lying. We then switch to an odd duo that
Fair
was
enough.
briefly shown in the background in the anime. Based on their conversation, the girl was possibly some form of nobility, while the guy looked as if he was her knight. His name was Hong Chun-wha, and it seemed as if it was his duty to protect this girl. Next, we shift our focus towards the devil-looking guy. He was shown in the anime to be sitting on a rock surrounded by a few dead bodies.
Yeah.
Supposedly, he was one of the more aggressive regulars, as he was seen to ruthlessly attack and kill every person that he came across.
He has a more relaxed face in the
It was
anime than just in
actually
the...
quite surprising that he was even able to find teammates to pass the second test with. Finally, the last team they showed was of Ho, Serena, and Lore. Serena was a bit concerned that one of her teammates was constantly sleeping.
Sleeping, yeah.
But Ho seemed to have a general idea of how strong Lore was. He was pretty confident that there was nothing to be concerned about. Now, as awesome as everyone looked, Mam needed to understand that everyone there was a potential enemy. Every single one of these people were regulars who came from the residential area of the tower, which meant that they possessed at least one extraordinary talent. So Mam couldn't let his guard down like he did with Khun.
Oof.
After the argument between two of the regulars, Leroro enters to set the stage for the
It's a
next
dude.
test. It's here that we get a bit more context on what a ranker is.
Right, okay.
Because they are someone who has reached the top of the tower, they also receive a new ranking every season, thus the name ranker. It's said that only 1 or 2 out of a couple thousand regulars will ever earn this title.
Oh.
Anyway, we then get to see the first clear
Big
instance
deal.
of Shin-soo manipulation,
Big deal.
and just Shin-soo in general. Leroro used his abilities to compress the Shin-soo around him and make a physical barrier. You see, the more concentrated the Shin-soo is, the stronger it becomes. And there are those who don't fare too well when they encounter it in this state.
Like we learn when they try and get
task
through
was
this.
to determine whether someone was actually physically capable of handling the diverse environments of the tower. If not, then there was no point of climbing in the first place. The barrier wasn't even that highly concentrated. Khun knew that he could easily pass through it, and Rak had been hunting in the Shin-soo all his life.
Oh wow,
so
okay.
this wouldn't be a problem for him either.
Oh.
The only concern
Interesting
lay
detail.
with Bao. But he just wasn't pushed
I
back at
loved
all.
that so
This
much.
gave Leroro quite the shock. He seemed much more concerned than how he did in the anime. It was as if Bam not being knocked back by the Shin-soo left him speechless for a bit. So, while the others
Right,
worked
so
their
they
way through the
downplayed
barrier,
it in the anime a
Bam
bit,
and
right.
Leroro played their game. Initially, Leroro chose Anak, calling her by name as if he already knew who she was. Then, we know that Bam chose her as well because he sensed a strong sort of aura around her, leading them to the tie which allowed Bam to ask his questions. When he inquired about Rachel, we learned that Leroro hadn't seen her in any of the tests that he was in charge of.
Right.
It was possible that she could have taken a test somewhere else, but the only way to confirm that was to check with the other administrators. This meant that there were other tests happening in tandem with this one.
Right.
The next question
cool.
about irregulars gave us more context on the tower itself. We learned that within the tower there are 3 separate divisions: the outer tower, inner tower, and middle area. The outer tower serves as the residential area.
Right,
It's
this makes
here that
sense for
most
how this
people are
works.
born,
Right, okay.
and
Wow.
they could very well live there for their entire lives. The only way to get to the floors above or below are by using the middle area or inner tower. The inner tower is typically restricted to be used as testing grounds for the regulars.
Right.
If someone was from the residential or middle areas, then they would have to use the inner tower to gain access to the floor above. The middle areas were more so used by rankers to skip to the floor of their choice.
This
It's
helps
the
make
place
more
that we
sense
see
about the
Yuri and
tower,
Evan
but
used to get to where Mam is. Of course, all this information should have been.
because I was like, how do people
Every
live there if
person
it's just
taking
one
the
big,
test was
huge
a
testing
regular who
ground
was
to get to
born
the
and raised
top?
within the tower. And the common element between them was that they were chosen by Head-On for displaying some sort of talent. You see, Head-On hand-picks and sorts all the regulars. Only with his permission can they climb the tower. And it's a
Right.
fact that every person he selects will eventually make their way through the floor of test. However, those who weren't picked and sorted are classified as the irregulars.
Irregulars, yeah.
The ones that Leroro was referring to in the anime were Phantominium, Enryu, and Udek. All people who were so powerful that just the stories of their feats of strength was enough to build this basis of fear around them. Bam wanted to know if there was a way that he could meet them. The answer to that question was surprisingly yes. But in order to do so, he first had to climb the tower.
Yeah.
It was just as
Cool.
head-on
Makes sense.
set in the floor below. Everything that Bomb could ever want existed
At
up
the top.
above. Now, before the conversation could continue, one of the regulars had their little outburst.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't the sniper like they had showed in the anime.
Oh.
Instead, it was someone different. A regular who believed he was the strongest out of all of them. So, to put into perspective why the test was important, Littero gave a lesson on the full potential of Shin-soo. Not only did he mention that it could provide immortality and godlike powers, but he also brought up a rumor. The irregular Enryu the Notorious had been able to use Shin-soo to create life itself.
Oh.
It truly was a substance of infinite possibilities. But the thing about Shin-soo was
okay.
that even though it could open up the door to literally anything, it could also shut you out. It wasn't meant to be used by everyone, which is why it was such a useful tool for determining a person's limits. Sure, this regular may have trained his entire life and given up everything, but no one was going to simply acknowledge his efforts and reward him for that. The world wasn't that kind. Every living being had its limits, and whatever that limit may be, the tower will eventually help you to realize it.
I wonder why
In
they
this
changed the
case,
character.
It was the test administrator. Now, Shibisu didn't want to be one of those people whose limits were already determined. So, as he made a fool of himself trying to inch his way through the Shin-soo, Serena watched and felt a bit of motivation to do the same.
Right.
She didn't want to.
I do like how those two properly
It was a scene that
make
was
out they
pretty
hate
much
each other,
used
but they
to
really like
characterize
each other.
these two
They
as
got the hots for
weakest
each
of
other, I think.
regulars. Well, the weakest out of the ones that serve as supporting characters, anyway.
Yeah.
Just like Bomb, they're pretty much coming in as underdogs as well. Meanwhile, Khun and Rak pass through with little issues.
The bag, though,
But
what was that
Khun's
about?
bag getting slightly stuck is a very interesting piece of foreshadowing for events that come to light during the Crown Game. Something that should become obvious once you've watched episode 5.
Right.
Anyway, with that, the pre-test was completed.
Yeah,
Arguments
okay.
to Hang Sung's
Right.
examination and the end of
Never
the
thought about
research.
that. Okay. Okay.
As I continue this series weekly, you should know that my first video got taken down by
Of
copyright
course!
issues.
Oh my god!
So, while I try to work through that issue and get the video
Ah,
back up,
the-
I'm gonna have to minimize the amount
Ah,
of graphic
okay.
panels I use in my video.
Never thought about that.
So,
Wow.
if the video seems a bit lackluster on the editing side, just know that it's only temporary until I can confirm that my channel will be safe to upload this type of content again. And if this video does
The
get
people in
taken
the
down
bag
by a
that he
strike,
brought
then
through.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to
I
pause
never
this
thought about
series until
that.
everything
So
gets
it wasn't
sorted
just out of
out.
nowhere.
But hopefully it doesn't come to that. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of anime
Wow,
content, then you know
boom!
what to do. So, until next time, ciao.
That class, absolutely class. I love these cut content videos. Ah! Those boss. Mind blown. I love Tower of God, man. I'm absolutely loving it. Every Wednesday, Tower of God. Girlfriend was on the phone to me yesterday, and I was like, yo, 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 yo. Can't believe you've distracted me. Tower of God came on Crunchyroll an hour ago, and you're still talking to me. As a joke, and then she was like, oh, do you want me to hang up so you can watch it? Ah, bless. Anyway. Oh man, I hope he does these weekly. Because that was boss, man. Ah, the bag thing still blew my mind. Because I was kind of like, that kind of came out of nowhere, these guys, but it didn't. Yeah, that was a slight little... Right, it makes sense. Cool. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys. So you guys next time.